The autumn rain drummed against the windows of Rosie's diner, creating rivulets that caught the warm amber light from inside. Mia Chen pulled her worn leather jacket tighter as she pushed through the glass door, the familiar chime announcing her arrival to the nearly empty restaurant. It was past the dinner rush, and the place had that comfortable, lived-in feeling that only decades-old establishments possess. She chose her usual booth by the window, sliding across the cracked red vinyl seat that had seen thousands of conversations, first dates, and late-night coffee refills. Her messenger bag, heavy with art supplies, and her laptop settled beside her with a soft thud. Mia had been coming to Rosie's for 3 months now, ever since she'd moved to Portland to pursue her dream of becoming a freelance illustrator. The diner had become her unofficial office, a place where the coffee was strong, the Wi-Fi was reliable, and nobody minded if she occupied a table for hours. "The usual, hun?" came a tired voice from behind her. Mia looked up to see Sarah, the waitress who always worked the evening shift. But tonight something was different. Sarah's usually bright smile seemed forced, and there were dark circles under her eyes that makeup couldn't quite hide. Her blonde hair, normally pulled back in a neat ponytail, looked hastily arranged, with a few strands escaping around her face. "Coffee and a slice of apple pie, please," Mia replied, studying Sarah's face with the observant eye of an artist. "Are you okay? You seem a bit off tonight." Sarah's practiced smile faltered for just a moment. "Oh, you know how it is. Long day, that's all." She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, a gesture Mia had noticed she did when she was nervous or upset. "I'll get that coffee right out for you." As Sarah walked away, Mia couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously wrong. She'd been coming here long enough to know that Sarah was usually the type of person who could find something positive to say about the rainiest day in Portland. Tonight she moved through her tasks mechanically, her shoulders slightly hunched as if carrying an invisible weight. Mia opened her sketchbook, a habit she'd developed whenever she sat down anywhere. Her hand moved almost automatically, capturing the scene around her. The retro checkerboard floor, the vintage Coca-Cola signs on the walls, the way the neon light from the "Open 24 Hours" sign cast a pink glow across the empty counter stools. But her eyes kept drifting to Sarah. When Sarah returned with the coffee, Mia made another attempt at conversation. "I'm Mia, by the way. I know I come in here a lot, but I don't think we've properly introduced ourselves." "Sarah," the waitress replied, setting down the white ceramic mug with hands that trembled slightly. "And yeah, I've seen you here before. You're the artist, right? Always drawing in that book." "Guilty as charged," Mia said with a grin. "I'm a freelance illustrator. Well, trying to be one anyway, still working on building up my client base." For the first time that evening, Sarah's smile looked genuine. "That's really cool. I always wanted to be creative like that, but I was never any good at art in school." "Everyone's creative in their own way," Mia said, noticing how Sarah's eyes lit up when she talked about art. "It just takes finding the right medium." Sarah nodded, but the light in her eyes dimmed again. "Well, I should let you get back to your work. Let me know if you need anything else." As Sarah moved to tend to the only other customer in the diner, an elderly man reading a newspaper at the counter, Mia found herself sketching without really thinking about it. Her pencil moved across the paper, capturing Sarah's profile as she wiped down tables with a dish towel. But this wasn't just a technical exercise. Mia found herself drawing what she saw beneath the surface. In her sketch, Sarah stood a little straighter. Her smile was the genuine one Mia had glimpsed briefly, not the tired mask she'd been wearing all evening. Mia added details that spoke to strength and resilience. The way Sarah's hands moved efficiently despite her exhaustion, the determined set of her jaw even when she thought no one was looking. Without realizing it, Mia began adding elements that weren't literally there, subtle visual metaphors that conveyed hope and perseverance. She drew Sarah surrounded by small symbols of possibility. A tiny bird perched on the coffee pot behind her, representing freedom. A subtle sunrise visible through the diner window, suggesting new beginnings. Delicate flowers blooming from cracks in the sidewalk outside, symbolizing growth despite difficult circumstances. The drawing evolved into something that was part portrait, part emotional landscape. The pie arrived as Mia was adding the final touches to the sketch. She looked up to find Sarah standing beside the table, her expression curious. "What are you working on?" Sarah asked, and for the first time that evening her voice held genuine interest rather than polite professional courtesy. Mia hesitated. The drawing felt personal, almost intimate in the way it revealed her perception of Sarah's inner strength. "Just something I saw," she said carefully. "Would you like to see it?" Sarah's eyes widened as Mia turned the sketchbook around. The woman in the drawing was recognizably her, but it was as if Mia had captured a version of Sarah that existed in potential, confident, hopeful, surrounded by symbols of growth and renewal. Is that really how you see me?" Sarah's voice was barely above a whisper. Mia nodded. "Sometimes we can't see our own strength, but it's there. It's always there." For a moment, Sarah just stared at the drawing, her eyes filling with tears that she quickly blinked away. Thank you. This is really beautiful. You're incredibly talented. Would you like to keep it?" Mia asked impulsively, carefully tearing the page from her sketchbook. Sarah's hands shook slightly as she accepted the drawing. "Are you sure? I mean, this is your work. Art is meant to be shared," Mia said firmly. "Besides, something tells me you need this more than I do right now." As Sarah clutched the drawing to her chest, Mia saw something shift in her expression. The exhaustion was still there, but underneath it was a spark of something that hadn't been present when Mia had first walked in. Hope. "I can't pay you for this," Sarah said, "but your coffee and pie are on the house tonight." "That's not necessary." "Please," Sarah interrupted, "let me do this. It's the least I can do." As Mia ate her pie and worked on other sketches, she noticed that Sarah moved differently now. There was still tiredness in her steps, but also a subtle change in her posture. She held her head a little higher, and when she smiled at the elderly man at the counter, it reached her eyes. The rain continued to fall outside, but the diner felt warmer somehow. Mia packed up her supplies around 10 o'clock, leaving a generous tip despite Sarah's insistence that the meal was free. "Take care of yourself, Sarah," Mia said as she prepared to leave. "You too, Mia, and thank you, really. You have no idea how much I needed this tonight." As Mia stepped out into the rainy Portland night, she felt a sense of satisfaction that went beyond the simple pleasure of creating something beautiful. There was something powerful about using art to connect with another human being, to offer comfort and hope through pencil strokes and imagination. She had no way of knowing that her simple act of kindness was about to set in motion a chain of events that would change both their lives in ways neither could imagine. 3 days had passed since Mia's encounter with Sarah at the diner, and she was struggling to focus on her latest freelance project, a series of illustrations for a local bakery's website. Her tiny studio apartment in the Alberta Arts District felt particularly cramped today, with half-finished drawings scattered across her desk and the October wind rattling the windows of the converted warehouse building. She'd thought about Sarah several times since that rainy evening, wondering if the drawing had helped at all, or if it had been just a momentary bright spot in what seemed like a difficult period in the waitress's life. Mia had always believed in the power of art to heal and inspire, but she sometimes wondered if that belief was just wishful thinking. Her phone buzzed with a text from her best friend and former art school roommate, Jessica, who lived in Seattle. "Coffee date via FaceTime tonight? I need to hear about your latest adventures in the Portland art scene." Mia smiled, typing back, "Absolutely. 8 p.m.? I could use some friendly advice about a project I'm stuck on." She was just settling back into her work when her phone rang. The number was local but unfamiliar. "Hello, this is Mia Chen," she answered, setting down her pencil. "Hi, Mia. This is Sarah from Rosie's Diner. I hope you don't mind that I got your number from the credit card receipt you left the other night." Mia sat up straighter, surprised but pleased to hear from her. "Sarah, of course I don't mind. How are you doing?" I'm doing much better. That's why I'm calling." Sarah's voice sounded different, brighter, more energetic than it had been at the diner. "I wanted to tell you what happened with your drawing." "Oh? Well, I took it home and put it on my refrigerator," Sarah began, and Mia could hear the smile in her voice. "My daughter Emma, she's 8, saw it when she came home from school the next day. She was so excited about it, asking me all these questions about who drew it and whether I knew you were an artist." Mia felt a warm glow spreading through her chest. "That's sweet. But here's the thing," Sarah continued, her voice picking up excitement. "Emma has been going through a really tough time lately. Her dad and I divorced 6 months ago, and she's been struggling with the adjustment. She's been having nightmares, not wanting to go to school, it's been really hard for both of us." Mia's heart went out to them. She thought about the exhaustion and sadness she'd seen in Sarah's face that night, and now it made perfect sense. "When Emma saw your drawing, something changed," Sarah went on. "She started asking me about the symbols you included, the bird, the flowers growing through the cracks in the sidewalk. I explained what I thought they meant, about hope and new beginnings and finding beauty in difficult places. She listened so carefully, Mia. It was the most engaged I'd seen her in months." "I'm so glad it resonated with her," Mia said, genuinely moved. "That's not all," Sarah said, her voice building with excitement. "Emma asked if she could try drawing something herself. She spent the entire evening yesterday creating her own picture. It's this amazing drawing of our apartment building. But she added all these little details like flowers in the window boxes and a rainbow over the roof. She called it Our New Beginning Home." Mia felt tears prick at her eyes. "Sarah, that's beautiful." "She wants to meet you," Sarah said. "She's been asking all morning if I could call you and see if you might want to come by the diner when she's with me. I work a double shift on Saturdays, and she usually does her homework at one of the back booths. I know you don't really know us, but would you consider stopping by this Saturday? Maybe around 2 o'clock? Mia didn't hesitate. "I'd love to meet Emma." "Really? Oh, that's wonderful. She's going to be so excited. And Mia, I can't thank you enough for what you did the other night. I was having the worst day. Emma had been crying all morning because she missed her dad. I was behind on bills, and I felt like I was failing at everything. Your drawing reminded me that even when things feel hopeless, there's still beauty and possibility in the world." After they hung up, Mia sat in her quiet apartment, staring out at the grey October sky. She thought about the interconnectedness of human experience, how a simple gesture of kindness could ripple outward in ways you never expected. Her drawing had comforted Sarah, which had opened up a conversation with Emma, which had inspired Emma to create her own art, which had given both mother and daughter a new way to process their difficult situation. Saturday couldn't come fast enough. Mia spent the next 2 days thinking about what she might say to Emma, what kind of encouragement might be helpful for a young girl navigating her parents' divorce. She decided to bring a small sketchbook and some colored pencils, just in case Emma wanted to try drawing together. Saturday afternoon was crisp and clear, with the kind of autumn light that made Portland look like it was auditioning for a postcard. Mia walked the 12 blocks to Rosie's diner, enjoying the way the fallen leaves crunched under her feet and the smell of wood smoke from someone's fireplace. The diner was busier than it had been on that rainy Tuesday night, filled with the comfortable chatter of weekend diners and the clatter of plates and silverware. Mia spotted Sarah immediately, moving efficiently between tables with a coffee pot in one hand and a notepad in the other. But this was a different Sarah than the one Mia had met earlier that week. Her hair was neatly braided, she wore a touch of lipstick, and most importantly, her movements had an energy and purpose that had been absent before. "Mia!" Sarah called out when she spotted her, waving her over to a booth in the back corner. Sitting at the table was a girl with Sarah's blonde hair and bright blue eyes, carefully coloring in what appeared to be a complex mandala pattern in a coloring book. She looked up as Mia approached, and her face broke into a shy but genuine smile. "Emma, this is Mia, the artist I told you about," Sarah said, sliding into the booth beside her daughter. "Hi, Emma," Mia said, extending her hand for a formal handshake. "Your mom told me you're an artist too." Emma giggled and shook Mia's hand solemnly. "I'm not really an artist. I just like to draw." "That's exactly what being an artist is," Mia said seriously. "It's liking to create things and putting your ideas down on paper. Can I see what you're working on?" Emma turned her coloring book around proudly. She had chosen colors that were unexpected but harmonious, purples and teals instead of traditional reds and blues, with careful attention to staying within the lines while adding her own small flourishes to the design. "This is really beautiful," Mia said, and she meant it. "I love how you chose these colors. They remind me of a peacock's feathers." Emma's eyes lit up. "I love peacocks. Did you know they can fly even though they have such big tails?" "I did know that," Mia said, settling into the booth across from them. "They're one of my favorite birds to draw because they're so colorful and dramatic." For the next hour, Mia found herself in one of the most delightful conversations she'd had in months. Emma was curious about everything: how long it took to finish a drawing, whether Mia had ever drawn a real peacock, what her favorite colors were, whether she thought art could make people feel better when they were sad. "Your drawing of my mom made me feel better," Emma said matter-of-factly. "It showed me that she's still the same mom even though our family looks different now." Mia glanced at Sarah, who was wiping away a tear with the back of her hand. "Sometimes art can help us see things in a new way," Mia agreed. "Would you like to try drawing something together?" Emma nodded enthusiastically, and Mia pulled out the sketchbook and colored pencils she'd brought. They spent another 30 minutes creating a collaborative drawing of the diner, with Emma adding whimsical details like flowers on the tables and Mia helping her with perspective and shading techniques. As they worked, other customers began to notice what they were doing. An elderly couple at a nearby table asked to see the drawing, and soon there was a small crowd of admirers gathered around their booth. Emma beamed under the attention, explaining the different elements of their collaborative artwork with the confidence of a seasoned gallery guide. "She has a real gift," commented Mrs. Patterson, a regular customer who came in every Saturday for the early bird special. "And what a wonderful thing for you to do, encouraging a young artist like this." As the afternoon wound down and the crowd dispersed, Sarah sat back down with them, having finished her shift. "I can't thank you enough for this," she told Mia quietly, while Emma carefully tore their drawing out of the sketchbook to take home. "I haven't seen her this animated in months." "She's special," Mia replied. "You both are. And you're doing an amazing job, Sarah. Single parenting is incredibly hard, but Emma is lucky to have someone who cares so much about her happiness and growth." As Mia prepared to leave, Emma tugged on her sleeve. "Mia, could you teach me how to draw people like you drew my mom? I want to draw a picture of me and Mom in our new apartment." "I'd love to," Mia said. "Maybe we could meet here again next weekend?" Emma looked at her mother hopefully, and Sarah nodded. "If Mia doesn't mind giving up another Saturday afternoon." "I can't think of a better way to spend a Saturday," Mia said honestly. What none of them knew was that their afternoon of art and connection had been witnessed by someone whose presence would soon change everything. The following week, Mia was at her usual table at Rosie's when Sarah approached with an excited expression. "Mia, there's someone here who wants to meet you," Sarah said. "She was here on Saturday when you were drawing with Emma." A woman in her 50s approached their table. She had silver-streaked auburn hair and wore a tailored blazer with the confidence of someone accustomed to professional settings. "Miss Chen, I'm Dr. Margaret Holloway," the woman said, extending her hand. "I'm a child psychologist specializing in art therapy, and I work as a consultant for Beacon Children's Books." Mia's pulse quickened as Dr. Holloway sat down. "What I witnessed last Saturday was remarkable," Dr. Holloway continued. "The way you intuitively guided Emma through the creative process and helped her articulate her feelings. It was textbook art therapy, but completely natural. I've always believed art has healing power," Mia said carefully. "Beacon Children's Books has been looking for an illustrator who can create educational materials to help children cope with life transitions. Divorce, moving, starting at new schools," Dr. Holloway explained. "After watching you work with Emma, I think you might be exactly what we're looking for." Mia's heart raced. This was the kind of meaningful work she'd always dreamed of doing. Dr. Holloway reviewed Mia's sketchbook, pausing at the collaborative drawing with Emma. "This shows how you help children see their situations through symbols of hope and growth. It's therapeutic illustration in action." They discussed the project, a series of interactive workbooks combining storytelling, art activities, and gentle psychological guidance for children ages 6 to 12. "I'll review your portfolio this weekend and speak with the editorial team on Monday," Dr. Holloway said, gathering her things. "If they're as impressed as I expect, we could arrange a meeting next week." After she left, Sarah slid into the booth, grinning. "Can you believe that just happened? All because you drew me a picture to cheer me up." "It feels too good to be true," Mia admitted. "You deserve this," Sarah said firmly. "You have a gift for connecting with people through your art." Monday afternoon, Dr. Holloway called with incredible news. "Mia, we'd like to offer you the position. Your portfolio demonstrated exactly the combination of technical skill and emotional intelligence we've been looking for." Mia could barely believe it was real. "Just like that?" "Just like that. Patricia Williams, our editor-in-chief, wants to meet with you this Friday to discuss the project details." The meeting at Beacon Children's Books exceeded all expectations. The project was a series of 6 interactive workbooks, helping children navigate life transitions, combining storytelling, art activities, and gentle psychological guidance. The illustrations aren't just decoration, Patricia explained. They're an integral part of the therapeutic process. We need images that validate children's feelings while showing pathways to healing and growth. Saturday afternoon found Mia back at Rosie's with a gift for Emma, a professional sketchbook and colored pencils. "These are for real artists," Emma said solemnly. "Real artists like you," Mia confirmed. "Yeah." Emma had prepared a special drawing for Mia, a detailed picture of the 3 of them in their booth, complete with symbolic elements, hearts floating above their heads, a rainbow over the diner, and tiny wings on their figures. "You taught me that art can make people feel better," Emma said. "When I was sad about Mum and Dad not living together anymore, making pictures helped me understand that it's okay to feel sad, but that good things can still happen." 3 months later, Mia was deep into work on When Families Change, a Guide for Young Hearts, the first book featuring a protagonist named Emma. Sarah had been promoted to assistant manager at the diner, crediting her transformation to Mia's drawing as the turning point. Emma had started an art club at school, teaching younger children the techniques Mia had shown her. On a rainy Thursday evening, Mia sat in her usual booth working on illustrations. When she noticed a father struggling to console his crying toddler who had broken his toy truck, she quickly sketched a superhero truck on a napkin and offered it to the little boy. "That's incredibly kind," the grateful father said, as his son's tears turned to wonder. Sarah smiled knowingly as Mia returned to her seat. "Some things never change. You see someone who needs kindness, and you find a way to provide it." Emma texted, "Art helps kids see the good parts of changes, doesn't it?" Mia typed back, "That's exactly right, Emma. You're going to make an amazing artist and an even more amazing person who helps others." As rain fell outside, Mia continued her work, grateful for the path that had brought her here. The drawing she'd made for Sarah still hung on their refrigerator, a reminder that beauty could emerge from the darkest moments. Now she was creating hundreds of such drawings, each designed to remind children they were stronger than their circumstances. In the quiet bustle of Rosie's diner, Mia drew one line at a time, creating images that would help children learn what she had discovered that transformative autumn evening. Art has the power to heal, hope has the strength to endure, and kindness always finds a way to multiply itself in the world. The simple act of drawing a picture to cheer up a waitress had become the foundation of a career dedicated to using art as a force for healing and hope. And that seemed like the most beautiful drawing of all, a life sketched in service to others, colored with compassion and framed by the endless possibility of human connection.